Hi guys, so following on from the post that I did at the beginning of last week, I just wanted to have a chat about my perimenopause experience and just see if it might help anyone. I spoke about how I was feeling really rubbishy last Monday. It was mainly down to the vaccine, but it just made me really think about the perimenopause and all the symptoms that go with it. I did see a doctor on Saturday, a private gynecologist. I have to say I'm not very happy since I got out of that because I've looked up the prescription he's given me and it's really annoyed me quite a lot. So I'll talk about that because anyway. So I think I've been having perimenopausal symptoms for a good few years now. So I'm 46 and I've learnt a lot, so much more in the last couple of months all about it. And I wish I'd known this a few years ago. I have seen various GPs. Something does need to change with the GP system. We love our NHS, but you know, they're well trained in diabetes, they're well trained in all sorts of symptoms and issues that go on with people. But as far as menopause goes, which is massively impacts women aged 40 plus, hugely impacts women and their jobs and their function and everything. And it's just not, they just don't know about it, but they don't have the training for it. So, you know, something needs to happen. Sorry about that. Something needs to change, which hopefully it will, because lots of people are talking about this now. But I've been having symptoms for a long time. So one of the earliest symptoms you can have in your late 30s, early 40s is anxiety, where you wake up in the night just feeling anxious. You have that feeling of butterflies. You don't know why, because you've got nothing to feel anxious about. So I would just do the deep breathing, get my parasympathetic nervous system kicking back in, which is your relax and digest mode, breathe, tell myself everything's fine, and I'd get back to sleep again. But lots of people don't. Lots of people can't. They're like, oh my God, what's going on? It's a sign of perimenopause. It's one of the earliest symptoms. Getting up loads in the night, going to the loo, which is what I was doing as well. Lots of things that keep going on. The brain fog, not being able to remember words, you know, just muscle aches, hair loss, all sorts of things. Estrogen receptors are everywhere, so it affects everything. So we're struggling on. I started having heart palpitations, didn't know what was going on. This was happening almost daily. So I thought, you know, I was put on an ECG is it an ECG? One of these heart monitors in the doctor's surgery. I was given one for 24 hours, but they didn't pick anything up. And then they just say, you know, can't find anything, you're fine. Bloods, yeah, they're fine. You know, and you're just kind of walking along thinking, well, what's wrong with me? Why am I falling apart? What is happening to me? Because you're not making it up. These symptoms are genuine and it's hormones. So it's something that you can't even rationalize, you can't see. And how are we supposed to know? Because we're not doctors. But then even doctors don't know. You've got to be a specialist to understand these things. So one thing to say when you're going to see a GP is to ask to see someone who specialises in women's health, because you need that, because lots of them don't, and lots of them don't understand it, and they'll just ask if you want a blood test. You have a blood test and you're told you're fine, go on, get on, you know, and you can't. So anyway, I massively changed my diet. This is how I coped with it. I massively changed my diet. I cut out gluten, completely cut out gluten. I cut out dairy. So I basically had oat milk, soy milk, almond milk instead. And then as of last summer, I stopped eating sugar pretty much. I still have it occasionally because, you know, it's one of life's pleasures, isn't it? So you can't deny yourself everything. So, you know, it's fine. But I now know that I massively react when I have alcohol, for example, wine. Our tolerance to wine massively goes down. Our metabolism changes. So that's really common. Heart palpitations is common. My heart palpitations now are very rare. So I get them maybe once every 3 months, something like that. Just a little flutter. Whereas before I felt like my heart was, you know, it was awful. It was quite worrying. So I've controlled that through diet. Exercise has massively helped me. I started all my exercise at probably age 39 and just kept going, strength building, increasing my lean muscle mass, increasing my metabolism. That really helps me feel in control of everything. I just feel like I'm managing a lot through diet and exercise. It's made me really dull in terms of, like, you know, I can't go out and happily drink a bottle of wine with my friends because, you know, I'll drink a glass and then just feel a bit, oh, I can have a gin and tonic though, which is quite nice. So it does change lots of things, and then I know if I'm going to have 2 or 3 glasses of wine, I'm not going to sleep. So it's kind of weighing up what's going on. You know, what sleep is important when you get older and you want to feel well, especially if you've got quite a busy job and you want to keep on top of things. So there's all that going on. So anyway, so I managed through diet and exercise then for a long time, but then during lockdown last year, my periods then started getting really heavy. So you know, not really painful, just a really kind of heavy feeling, just in my lower abdomen. So just feeling like, I don't know, just like I'm hanging, like just weighted down, just really not a nice feeling, and then really heavy periods. So that was just unsettling, and I was just thinking, okay, I really need to see somebody. I went to the doctor, had blood tests. Of course it's fine, it's always fine, the bloods are always fine. So I went to see someone privately. If I'd known at the time to ask for someone who specialises in women's health at the doctor, then I would have done that, but I didn't know. I just thought GPs are supposed to know these things, but now I know lots of them don't because they're just not trained in it. So that needs to change. So I guess younger GPs may be more likely to be than older ones, who knows. So I went to see someone privately, and I was sent to have a scan, and they basically diagnosed me with adenomyosis, which is a form of endometriosis, which was the cause of my very heavy periods, and I was just lucky not to have intense pain with that. So the most common sort of response for that is to go on the Mirena coil, which is a slow release progesterone, and then that controls your periods a lot. So I went on to that, had that fitted in December, and that helped a lot. I mean, especially with my periods, so much better. And gradually over time just started to sort of settle down, and I felt like I was in control of things again. I felt like things were good. But then I was having these at the same time, the doctor told me that I should go on to Estrogen Gel, because I was having this slow release progesterone through the coil. But then to balance out my estrogen, because of the symptoms I'd kind of explained to her that I'd been controlling through food and exercise, there were clearly symptoms that were there. So she said to go on the estrogen gel, 2 pumps, rub it into your skin, legs or arms, once a day. So I let the coil settle down first, because I wanted to make sure that I knew kind of what the stages were and how I was feeling in response to one thing before I started something else, because otherwise it's hard to work out what's going on if you start too much at once. So I let the coil settle in for 3 months, and I started the gel, and I felt anxious. So I was waking up in the night feeling anxious. So I took it for 4 days and then stopped because it just didn't feel right. And then I was having the night kind of heats, just really hot like a furnace. So I thought, okay, I need to take the estrogen gel again. So I started taking it again, 2 pumps, and just feeling rubbishy again. And then this was as of last Monday, when I just felt awful, but that was because I'd had the injection the day before, the vaccine. And it just got me thinking about it all, and I thought, okay, I need to see another specialist. So this is when I went to see this specialist on Saturday, who has amazing Google reviews. He is a man, is a specialist in women's health, in endometriosis, adenomyosis, in the menopause, perimenopause, all these symptoms and treatments. So I went to see him. I told him everything that was going on. I'm not sleeping well, keep waking up, hot flashes. He said, well, maybe you should go on the patch, the estrogen patch. And I said, because it's a slow release dose rather than rubbing 2 pumps in. And I said, okay, but how about if I just rub 1 pump of the gel in? Is that something I can do? And he said, well, yeah, you can try that and see how that how that affects you, what the outcome of that is, how you feel. So fine, I said, okay, I'll do that then. And I said, and then would that help me to sleep better? Will that help these flashes to go? And he said it would, but also he'd recommend that I go on this. Now let me just look it up because I'm going to get it wrong. He gave me a prescription for it, Amitriptyline. Okay, so I didn't know what it was. He just said that will help me sleep. I can start off with 10 milligrams and then maybe take that for a week. And then if I'm still not sleeping, go up to 20 milligrams and up to 30 milligrams. Okay, so I got home and I was like, okay, so maybe that's just something to help me sleep for a little bit. I look it up on my phone, and it's basically an antidepressant that you can use to help with sleep. So I've gone to the doctor with these hormone issues and I've been prescribed an antidepressant now. That is just, for me, alarm bells massively ringing. Why is this doctor giving me an antidepressant? Like, why do I want to rely on an antidepressant to help me sleep? It's obviously, it's been used apparently for years to help with people with sleep. But what happens when I want to come off it? How do I know? If I start taking that now, how do I know if the estrogen's working or not? So I didn't go near that. I didn't go and pick it up from the pharmacy. I started taking the estrogen gel, just one pump. I slept really well that night. The next night I woke up 2 or 3 times feeling hot. The night after that I slept well. And the night after that I woke up 2 or 3 times. But at least I know what's going on with my body. Okay, I'm not out for the count, sleeping on this pill that I don't know if I'm going to get too reliant on. So with anxiety, which is very common with perimenopause, doctors seem to be very keen to hand out antidepressants. It's just, that for me is wrong and should stop happening, because these women are then wandering around on these antidepressants which sort of take the edge off, so they're not really sure then quite what's going on. That's my interpretation of it, and I don't want to be like that. So I'm going to give the estrogen gel a chance, keep going with it, and if I'm still not sleeping in a month's time, even though I know already it's improving, then I'll go and see some different doctor and try something else, but just keep going. And I just wanted to share that, really, share those experiences of me and the perimenopause and what my experiences of seeing doctors are. And I know that it is common for antidepressants to be prescribed, and I know that lots of doctors who are actually clued up, I mean properly clued up, not like this one who I thought was clued up, who I saw on Saturday, but female doctors. I don't want to, cast any aspersions over male doctors, but female doctors maybe who've been through it and know, I mean, it happens to everyone. It's not something that only happens to some people, like with diabetes and things. So menopause creeps up on everyone, and we need to all be a lot more aware of it, and we all need to be a lot more aware that just prescribing pills isn't the answer, because balancing your hormones doesn't mean going on antidepressants and sleeping pills, because that just creates a whole host of other problems. So anyway, I just wanted to share that, and I will be speaking to my doctor at some point to tell him what I think about this prescription he's given me. So yes, that will happen soon. So thank you for listening, if you were still listening, and I will do some more exercises for you tomorrow.